Hey everybody, my name is Tez Fraser. Welcome back to my channel. So, as you guys probably know, I'm working on my game Rated Mutant. Links in the description. But Rated Mutant is my biggest release to date, or at least it will be. And I figured that I probably needed a little practice before I can actually get there. So what I decided to do was take one of my older games, remake it in Unity, and then actually publish it to a platform. I decided I was going to do an HTML5 game and actually publish it to itch because one, I've never done like a game on a website. Even though I've been making games for a really long time, I kind of missed out on that Flash era, so I thought that'd be fun to kind of pay homage to that. And I did itch because I've heard it's easy, but I've never done it myself, and I actually really like the platform. So I decided to go with that. So the game that I chose is called ColorSpasm. So you're probably wondering, what the heck is a ColorSpasm? So, ColorSpasm is a simple game. It starts off with a color, and then you have to memorize the color. After you memorize it, there will be flashing on the screen. Eventually, you'll be presented with a bunch of options, and then you have to pick the original color. And that sounds easier than it actually is, and that's what makes the game so fun. So you're probably asking, why ColorSpasm? Why'd you choose that? Well, for one, it's a simple game. It actually features no real graphics, or at least the original didn't feature any real graphics. And as such, the development time for it originally was maybe just like a month long, just to kind of work out the bugs and figure out what I was actually trying to do. Two, it is theoretically the most popular game I've ever made. I'm not going to get into it right now, but make sure that you guys are subscribed so that you guys can get the notification of when I put out that post-mortem and get a little bit into that. Three, I've always wanted to make that game more accessible. Because the game is color-based, if you have any type of color blindness or vision impairity, it's not a game that you can really play. Like, it's not easy to play, it's hard to play, almost impossible to play. So I wanted to make sure that I addressed that in this new version as well. And also, I wanted to open source this game. Like, I wanted you guys to be able to download the actual source and see what I did. And I'm not going to tell you that it's the best code in the world. Like I said, it's the first game that I'm releasing in Unity. There was definitely a learning curve involved with that. But I will say, given that I'm remaking the game, it actually only took from beginning to end. So from the date that I first made the logo, the updated logo, to the date that I last updated it on itch, it was 6 days. And I didn't work on it entirely in all those days. I think roughly it'd probably be about 4 days. So, like I said, ColorSpasm is an old game, so I wanted to make a lot of changes. The original ColorSpasm, for one, is a vertical game, and because I'm doing this for desktops, I needed it to, be horizontal. So as such, I redesigned the interface to do that. Also, there was a lot of bloat in the original ColorSpasm. There were multiple game modes, there were charts, leaderboards, blah, 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 this and that. Cutting all of that out because, honestly, if we look back at it, well, people were only playing the medium mode anyways, so there was really no issue in me just cutting out the other things. I think, honestly, if anything, it distracted people, and the core of the game was what it should have stayed as, which is just 12 squares, same stroke speed, choose the square from the beginning. That is it. I also wanted to make it a bit juicier in some ways. There were these like big bold borders and inconsistent fonts and things like that, and I just kind of wanted to get rid of all of that. Consistent font, a new results screen, things along that line. So that is what I changed. So now you're probably thinking, how does one make a game based on color more accessible? And I kind of asked myself that, and I took a look at some popular games that I've seen do some accessibility as far as color, and there was actually a very simple solution here, and it was to integrate symbols. But I still needed to make the game difficult in some way, right? Like if there is no difficulty, if it was going to be so obvious, then I needed to up the ante a bit. So what I did was I went to the Noun Project, which, if you guys are not aware of the Noun Project, it is this fantastic website. I do pay $40 a year to use it, but I also get unlimited access to icons. And honestly, I probably use these icons every single week. It's just very convenient and easy to use. So I definitely recommend it. But I went on there and I looked for collections of symbols of something. And I found this collection called the Flower Symbol Collection or something like that. And it was kind of exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for symbols that are close, but not too close, that you could confuse, but also, if you were paying close attention, that you could easily decipher which is which and choose between them. So basically what happens now when you turn on the colorblind symbol mode is that you get a flower over the original square, and then it flashes all these symbols and you have to choose the original symbol. And that was honestly, I think, one of the best ideas I've had. I think the game even looks beautiful, and honestly, I found myself using the game mode because I liked it a little better than the original in some ways. I don't know if it's because it's more visually appealing, but I actually really liked what was going on there. Other accessibility changes I made is that in the original, you could just turn music on and off, and that's not really cool, right? Because it's sometimes hard to manually change your volumes, or rather, you shouldn't have to manually change your volumes to just get an acceptable groove going. So I added sliders for the music and the sound effects, so that for people that might have sensitive hearing or might need a little louder, they can adjust that to their whim. And once again, these are just very simple things you can do to make your game accessible. I'm sure there was a number of other things I could have added, but for this game in particular, that is what I decided to do. I actually plan to expand upon this more heavily when I'm actually making Rated Mutant. So let me show you guys ColorSpasm-Desktop. Now, for my reflection, what did I learn? I learned how to actually use the canvas and learn the UI system. I'd used it in my demo, like the Rated Mutant demo that I'm working on. I have used it in, but I didn't really understand what was happening, and I realized that I know nothing about scaling. Thankfully, I learned how to scale this canvas for the game itself, so it'll scale to wherever you want. You want it in 1080p, you want it 4K, it'll scale. But man, did I realize there's a huge gap in knowledge that I'm definitely going to need to know. I also spent one of those actual 4 days simply just being stupid. I had no clue. You guys probably gonna laugh at this. I didn't know that you need Event Handler to handle events on the canvas as far as UI goes. And that sounds obvious now, but when I made the canvas thing, I didn't realize on-click was considered an event. So what happened was I created the original game mode. I copied it to a new scene to handle the tutorial. And I'm like, why aren't any of my buttons working? I copied the canvas and not the event handler. So don't be Tess. Don't make that stupid mistake. I learned how to use the mixer system. I didn't really know how to use the sound effects and how to mix them in. And I definitely used it incorrectly still a little bit. I created multiple audio I know there is a way to have multiple audio groups in one component, and I did not do that. I have like 2 separate mixer situations happening. But as far as my timetable and what I wanted to do, it wasn't a big deal. I know better now. As I mentioned before, this was my first thing I've ever uploaded to Itch. That was stupid simple. You literally just go like build to the web, HTML5, WebGL platform or whatever, and it just makes a thing. You zip that up and you upload it to Itch. It was so incredibly easy. I still looked up a video on how to do it just in case, and I'll actually link to the person that I watched to figure out how to upload to Itch. I think she actually has some pretty cool other tutorials. I haven't really checked her stuff out, but particularly this video was awesome. I'm definitely gonna upload Rated Mutant to Itch when it's finished because it was a very pleasant experience. There wasn't a rigmarole. Honestly, like when you're working on a Steam page or something like that, it's way harder. It's so much intense, or like the mobile app stores, things like that. Itch was a breeze. Like I understand why people upload their things to Itch all the time. And the final thing I learned is that I still have a lot to learn while I create the beast that is Rated Mutant. I'm gonna continue making the occasional game, just kind of jam to myself just so that I get a better understanding of what I'm doing. That way I can take the information that I learn and bring it back to my main game. So be on the lookout for the latest stuff that I'm putting out. And of course, don't forget to check out ColorSpasm-Desktop. You just listened to a whole video of me gushing over how I made it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit that bell and all that jazz. To grow this channel, we need more views. We're doing pretty good, but we need more views, we need more subscribers, and the only way to do that is if you guys tell everybody that you know that Tez's channel is where it's at. That was corny. I'm sorry. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. I hope that you guys learned something. Oh, I did forget, the source is available on my website for ColorSpasm-Desktop. Yeah, so if you guys want that, you guys can check it out. Obviously, links to play the game once again. I'm repeating myself. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.